Hello and welcome to Thought for Thursday. It is Thursday before a long weekend. I hope that you have had a great week and you are preparing to do something fun in what is coming up as the last hurrah for summer, huh? It's the last weekend of the summer, at least the last long weekend of the summer. All right. So, again, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. Tonight, we're covering a topic that is definitely something of importance, as are all the topics that we cover here. But I want you to focus in on this one because it is incredibly important and it is definitely essential to establishing a good foundation by which you're able to be your best self, by which you're able to do what it is that you desire to do to make changes in your life, by which you are able to actually make a difference in your life and be in good health, both physically and mentally. We're talking about protecting your peace and how that protects your progress. Reinvention requires energy, it requires focus, it requires clarity. But here's what often gets in the way: we're drained. And we've talked about this before. And from just any number of things, many times we're drained from the work itself, the work of reinvention itself. But not just that, but we're also drained because of the lack of boundaries. We talked about the importance of protecting those last week. And included in those boundaries are your boundaries for peace. So we often get distracted. We often get sucked up into things because we are not protecting those boundaries. Every yes we give that doesn't align with our purpose is really a withdrawal from our progress. That's the best way to put that. Every situation you kind of let slide that you should have really addressed is really a leak in your peace tank. If you think of your peace kind of being in a tank, like a tank of gas, something that fuels you, every leak that's in there is going to drain that tank. And eventually it gets to the point where you're not able to move, you're not able to drive because you need fuel in order to be able to get that car moving, right? So today, I really just want to remind you of this. Your peace is not a luxury, like I've said with some of the other things that we were protecting and some of the other things that were vital in our reinvention. Protecting that peace is really a strategy. And if you want to make consistent progress in what it is that you're doing in this whole reinvention journey, you've really got to protect your peace. And protect it like your future depends on it, because guess what? It really does. So, why does peace matter? It's more than just being quiet. It's your ability to think clearly, create freely, and kind of move with intention. Because if you don't have that peace, you're going to react instead of responding. You're going to really lose sight of your goals. And why? Because you're in a chaotic environment, chaos and distraction. That's going to make you lose sight of your goals. You're going to overcommit. We frequently do that and end up burnt out. And, if we don't have peace, we're going to struggle to hear our own why. What is it that we're really focused in on doing? Why is it that we're doing this? What is it that we're trying to accomplish? What difference is it that we're trying to make? We lose our focus on that because we don't have that peace in place, helping us to really stay focused in. And of course, with peace, we've talked about what happens if you don't have it. Well, let's talk about what you have with it. Okay. You're going to gain focus to be more strategic in what it is that you do. You're going to build stamina, which is really important. That stamina is what's going to keep you going, right? Stamina for that long road that's ahead. You're going to be able to protect your creativity. You're going to be able to stay aligned with your reinvention goal. And so progress really thrives when your peace is protected. So here are 5 practical protect your peace and build your progress steps, all right, that are going to help you to make sure that you stay grounded, that are going to help you to make sure that you're focusing in on the thing that you need to focus on, that you're not distracted, that your tank isn't empty, that you're not clouded in that vision, that you're really moving intentionally, that you're protecting the things that you need to protect, that you're giving it your best yes, that you're resting, that you are doing all of the strategic things that are necessary to make decisions and to do and accomplish what it is that you desire to accomplish. So, again, 5 practical tips, and here we go. What's the first one? Let me go over here to the first thing you want to do is recognize your emotional boundaries with people. You want to make sure that you understand, first of all, that there are emotional boundaries, right? And you want to make sure not only that you understand that, but that you protect those, because people are going to uh, you know, they're going to be in a position, and here we go. I'm sorry, there's a typo in there, but our my technology is failing on me again. But what this is supposed to say is protect your emotional boundaries. And how are you going to do that? You're going to set emotional boundaries with people. So not everyone deserves full access to you. And so, that's a hard thing for us to digest sometimes when we want to be everything for everybody and do everything and be the pinch hit and just be the person who makes it all come together. You really, really do need to realize that you have to pay attention to who leaves you drained versus who it is that's filling up your cup. You have to be real conscious of who that is or what that is, right? Create some healthy limits with the people who consistently pull you out of alignment. Now, in order to create those limits, you've got to realize that these people are doing that. So, what might that look like? That might look like you feeling like you need a nap after you talk to a certain individual. Every time you feel like you need a nap because you feel like it has just drained you. You feel confused. You feel like you have no more to give. What else might that look like? Every time you are around a certain group or every time you give to a certain group, you don't have anything left for you in the end. So that's what that might look like. That's when you might need to create yourself some healthy limits. What else? Well, for some of us, we just need to go ahead and schedule some peace blocks, schedule some time where we pull away from those things that drain us, right? Schedule some time for prayer, schedule some time for journaling, for stillness, for reflection on your calendar that you've put together that may be a little too heavy. In that period, you may be able to look at it and say, you know what? I have clarity of mind here to see that I need to pull some of that stuff out. Treat your peace blocks like a meeting, all right? Make sure you set them. Make sure you keep the commitment to stick with them. Make sure you sit yourself down during those peace times so that if you do nothing else, they're just times for you to breathe and totally let your mind go void. In many instances, that's all that's needed so that you can get uncluttered and get back in alignment. What else do you need to do in order to protect your peace and build your progress? Well, I already said this, protect your yes. You need to realize that you need to give your best yes every opportunity you have. So, your best yes frequently is going to come up against a resistant no. What do I mean, a resistant no? Giving your best yes is often going to result in somebody getting a no from you that they're resistant to. That's what I mean. So you don't have to, and what you need to realize is that you don't need to crowd behind that no. Give it affirmatively, give it in love, But give it knowing that just because you are getting some pushback on that no does not mean that your yes does not have value and that it is not the best yes for you. So you really need to protect your yes. Ask yourself, is this going to steal my peace by saying yes, or is this going to build peace? That's a good question. Is that going to steal my peace, or is it going to build peace? Does it align with my purpose? Those are some things you may want to ask yourself to make sure that, number one, your yes is good. And secondly, it'll help you in pushing forward to make sure you're protecting that yes, right? What else? Oh my goodness, this is so big, particularly in this environment. You have got to control your noise consume. Now, I'm not just talking about noise in the true sense of the word, where you hear loud banging or loud music or, carnival sounds or what have you. But there's so much noise going on in the political environment. There's so much noise going on in the community. There's so much noise going on in conversations. And frequently, the noise that's going on isn't always a healthy noise. It's not always a positive noise. It's not always a productive noise. Now, are you going to live in an environment where everything you hear and everything you experience and everything you feel is going to be positive and productive? Absolutely not. Are you going to hear some things that are not going to put you in a good headspace? Absolutely are going to hear them. But it is your responsibility, number one, to realize when you've kind of reached your limits and when you can avoid some of those things. And when it is essential for you to control those things that, as one of my girlfriends says, gets into your ear gates, the things that pass those ear gates and get into your head, and you start to feel them in your heart. Many of us start having anxiety attacks behind some of the noise in our lives. We start to have headaches. It starts to affect us physically. So protect yourself from social media and toxic conversations. Your intake, because why your intake, what it is that you're hearing, what it is that you're feeling, really does affect your output, what it is that you're giving. So it's important to understand that sometimes just putting up barriers to that noise will put you in such a better space, put you in a more productive space, put you in a space of peace. So be sure that you're doing that. And the last thing is create a daily wind down ritual. That is so important because somehow, some way, we always have a wind up ritual, don't we? We may not see it as a ritual, but we're always wound in some way. Some of us, from the moment our feet hit the floor, we are running and we don't stop until we get to bed, and then we get in bed and our minds race, don't they? Sounds like I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So it's something that I definitely have to focus in on, making sure that I wind down, making sure that I don't wind down with the laptop in the bed or the phone looking at me as I'm trying to close my eyes and wondering why it is that I'm not going to sleep. So it's not just about starting strong, of course, because, sometimes we start strong and sometimes we don't hit the ground running. Eventually we get there. But it is so much more difficult for many of us to wind down, to turn our brains off, particularly when ideas are coming at you from every direction, when you are overloaded and you have more to do the next day, and all you can focus in on is, I didn't get everything done today, and what's waiting on me tomorrow. It's about ending well. It's about slowing down and sitting in silence, perhaps with a candle, just and watching the flame from the candle. Or if you need to seek some kind of activity, sometimes having the TV on with the volume way down. Whatever it is that you need to do to create that wind down environment, you need to make sure that you give that priority. Give yourself a nightly practice that closes the door to the day. You've got to close that door and not leave it open. Gratitude journaling, a wonderful thing to do at the end of the day. A short walk to start to calm the mind and to start to get you in the fatigue arena. All right. And of course, prayer. Absolutely. So, protecting our peace is crucial to the reinvention process. It is crucial to whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish, because without peace, we do everything in chaos. Without peace, you operate in chaos. So, it's important to protect your peace. All right. And as I wind down this evening, I invite you to do just that. Make sure that you put in a ritual. Focus on these 5 things that we talked about tonight. Make sure you're doing whatever it is that you need to do to ensure that you're in a good space mentally. Of course, I always talk about the opportunity to go further. We talk about a lot of things here on Thought for Thursday and on Leveling Up the Podcast with a new episode I might mention, which is coming out very soon. But if you want to go deeper and do a really deep, concerted study, a deep, concerted effort, a deep, concerted process to getting to where it is that you're trying to go, to understanding purpose and passion and creating the boundaries and all of the things that are needed to get to a better place professionally, to get to a better place personally, to finally act on those dreams and carry out those visions, or carry out the vision and the goals that support it. I invite you to go ahead and text the word more to me at 240-789-4299, and we'll talk about it and we'll find out how it is we can do some other things to get you to where it is that you need to be. All right. So go out and be authentically yourself, confidently yourself, be boldly authentic, knowing that what you bring is awesome and that you are enough just where you are and just who you are. All right. Go out and touch something with that imprint that only you have and make a difference for you, make a difference for those around you. Until I see you again, do everything in your power to ensure that you are well.